Okay guys, here's the soup recipe as promised. I'm not even going to show my face in this video because I am so sick right now. But that's the perfect time to make soup anyway. So I went to the store. Most stores have like a soup mix. Each store packages it differently. Each store puts different items in it. I really don't care what's in it. I throw all this in the soup. The pepper, I'm gonna put that in and let it boil, but just watch that it doesn't burst. But once it bursts, then your soup is gonna be really, really spicy. I got some pumpkin, 2 sweet potatoes, and an onion. So I'm gonna wash all this, cut it all up, and start getting it in the pot. And look at this child. She can now climb up on the bench that's over here. So this is what she likes to do. She likes to just stand there. But anyway, here is the chicken. Just took it out the freezer. I'm gonna show you guys how I get that going. I'm pretty much gonna start boiling the chicken before anything else so that I could strain it, because there's gonna be a lot of fat and a lot of skin and a lot of bones. So I like to strain it, take the chicken off of it, and then put that back in the pot, and then I'll start adding all my vegetables. But I'll show you guys as I do everything. So this is the chicken. I took the rosemary out. I had rosemary inside of it when I was cooking it. So basically, I'm just going to put this in a pot of water and let that boil probably for an hour. And make sure to get all the foil off of it. And then you'll see how I strain it. Got more. I'm going to strain it anyway, so. Okay, so this is the pot I'm using. This is only a 5-quart pot. This is the biggest pot I have. Ideally, we should be using a bigger pot than this, but I made soup in this pot plenty of times, and I always somehow manage to fit everything in, so that's what I'm working with. So I'll come back and show you like my process of straining it, getting all the bones and all the skin out. Okay, so I'm going to talk over this part because between the kids screaming and me being sick, you can't really understand what I was saying. So basically, I did a quick soak on the split peas. Quick soak means you let it come to a boil for a little while, then turn it off and let it sit. So that's what I was explaining there, and then I would add it to the soup towards the end. It didn't come out the way I expected it this time with the quick boil. Next time I would soak them overnight like I usually do. And also here I'm taking out the chicken and I'm going to strain the broth to get all the bones and the skin out of it. Some people will leave it. I don't like my soup with bones and little bits of bones and skin, so I prefer to strain it. So once I strain it, I'm going to put it all back in the pot. Okay, so basically, the whole sickness in my house started with my husband. He came home from work sick. Then 2 days later, I started feeling sick. My son started feeling sick, and my daughter just had like a runny nose. So we ended up keeping my son home from school the Monday because he wasn't responding to his breathing treatment. So he went to the doctor, and I was able to see my doctor too. And it turned out that I had bronchitis, and my son just had a regular cold. It's just that he had to clear the mucus from his chest. So once that was cleared, he went back to school, and I was the only one that ended up on antibiotics. So yeah, that's basically how I ended up so sick. And you'll see here, I'm just picking out whatever pieces of chicken were still left. So once I do separate the chicken, I'm just going to pour the broth back into the pot and add a little bit more water
and then add the vegetables and season it. I always do soup different every time. This was not my best, I have to admit. I was sick, like I said, and I was just trying to throw it all together. But I did promise that I was going to record it, so that's why I begged my husband to help me record this video. I was saying here that I'm going to let the chicken cool before I like pull it all off the frame, because obviously it's really hot. So I was going to give the vegetables some time to cook and then just throw the chicken back in. So I added a little more water to the chicken broth. So I added a few different kinds of seasonings. I used this chicken bouillon powder. I ended up using 2 in total. I also used the adobo seasoning, onion powder. What else did I use? Pepper. And I think that was it. I did chop the vegetables pretty big because, again, I was feeling really, really bad at this point. I was just trying to get it over with. I was so sick that I forgot to peel the carrots before I cut them. I did wash them, of course, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But the vegetables that I used were, like I showed you, the sweet potato, the onion. There was corn in the soup packet, as well as cilantro and a few other things. Celery. So yeah, so you see me stirring all that in. So at this point, I tasted the broth to see if it had enough seasoning. So always season things to your liking. That's why I'm not giving any measurements or anything. But I was just giving you an idea of how I make my soup. This is perfect for like stretching food, because I started out buying a whole chicken. I baked that chicken. We had 2 nights of dinner with that chicken. Then what was left, I wrapped it up and froze it, and then that is what you see me making the soup with. So in total, it was about 4 meals for my family because we ate soup for 2 nights. Chicken I got off of the bones, so that's gonna go in. I'm gonna let this boil like probably about an hour, and then I'll add the some of this green split peas, and that's pretty much it. I also have I also added an onion, half an onion to it. So it's been a few hours. I turned it off about an hour ago. Yes, you can tell by my voice I'm getting worse. But I added the split peas to it. I added the cilantro, the scallions, and I let the pepper boil in there for about 20 minutes. And I caught it right before it burst open, so that was good. But yeah, I'm gonna show you what it looks like right now. See all the vegetables, chickens all throughout it. Of course, it has the chicken broth stock, whatever you call it, as a base. So it's pretty much done. When I come back home, I'm gonna let it boil for another hour or so, and I'm also going to add dumplings to it, which I will show how to make that.
It's pretty much just flour and water. That's all it is. But I'll show you how to make it. And now I have to go to my son's school. He has a program at 2 o'clock that I already told him I was going to attend. So I can't back out now. I have to go. So I gotta get the baby ready and then I have to leave the house. So I added the dumplings in. I didn't get a chance to record it because I was on the phone. But basically, you take a cup of flour, add enough water to the flour until the dough like comes together, and then you just pinch off like about this size, and you add it to the soup while it's boiling. Add them one by one, and then just let it boil, and then it's done. So this is how the soup came out. Can y'all stop? I will take it from her, Ryan. This is how the soup came out. If you try it, let me know.